welcome to Wednesdays at Noon with Pumpkin Fudge. I'm Shanique and I'm your host, of course, here at Pumpkin Fudge. If you watch every week, I'm pretty sure you're used to seeing my face at this point. I'm super happy to have Talia Goldfarb here with us from Myself Belts. And if you don't know about Myself Belts, well, today we'll talk a lot about it and you'll learn exactly what they are and what makes them different from traditional belts. But before we get started, I want to actually describe myself for those who are low vision or blind and might be watching or listening with us. So I'm a Black woman. Today I'm wearing like light brown blonde braids in my hair and a black and white pattern top with glasses and a gray wall behind me with a banner that says Pumpkin Fudge, inclusive by design, toys, bags, jobs. And I think that's it for me. And Talia, if you want to describe yourself, that would be great.
Sure. I am a white woman with light brownish, blondish, shoulder length hair. I have a sleeveless dark navy blue shirt on, and I'm sitting in a room with kind of ivory walls and a kind of colorful painting behind me.
Which I love. It's beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Textured walls as well.
Yeah.
Really
textured. Thanks.
But yeah, I'm super happy to have you here and to learn about Myself Belt. And I just want to say thank you also to frontline and essential workers who are still out there making the world go round. If you're watching with us or you watch this asynchronously, so after we're live, we still are thankful for you and all the parents out there too. Like, I think I have to say a shout out to parents, and I know Talia, you are a parent. So
yes, I am.
I shout out to you and all of the parents who are working hard still through this pandemic, whether you are an entrepreneur or you're working, at a job that you love or a career that you love, or you're a stay-at-home mom. I mean, yeah, because Rebecca always does that for our Friday recess. She always shouts out grown-ups, and I want to start to do that. So yeah,
I like that.
I think that's awesome. So yeah, we can get started. And can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Okay. My name's Talia, and I am actually trained as a social worker. I got my MSW out of college and was a very happy social worker. I worked with kids in foster care. I was a therapist. And my life took a turn when my son at the time was a toddler and potty training, and he was really skinny and his pants wouldn't stay up. Mm-hmm. So I got tired of his droopy drawers, and we realized that there weren't belts on the market that kids could fasten easily. And so my sister and I invented a company called Myself Belts, and now I run a belt business.
I love that. And you actually just answered our next question, which is how did Myself Belts begin?
Yeah, I can tell you a little more detailed, but so like I said, my son was skinny, and we put him in sweatpants all the time because pants didn't really fit around his waist. And when he would go to the bathroom, little kids tend to just yank down. They don't unbutton, they don't unsnap, unzip. And so his waist of his pants would just get stretched out. So pants that might have fit him in the morning, by lunchtime, were falling down. So I put him in sweatpants. And then I think we had some sort of family function where he had to look a little nicer and wear a pair of cute khakis on a little 2-year-old, a 3-year-old. And I quickly realized that there weren't belts on the market for little kids. And when little kids learn a new skill like potty training, they're so proud to be independent. And their favorite words are, I want to do it by myself, all by myself. And so I was complaining to my sister that there weren't belts for little kids. And she was like, really? We should do something about that. And for some crazy reason, we did. And so we figured out a way to make a belt that was easy for my toddler son to fasten. And little kids, there are a variety of steps that make fastening a belt difficult. One, they have the fine motor skills of their hands. 2, they tend to wait to the last minute to go to the bathroom. So combine like an emergency bathroom moment with trying to finagle a belt buckle. That's very challenging. So that is why we decided to invent an easier closure for all kids. Initially made for my, typical able-bodied toddler, but also beneficial for a wide variety of people that just using a normal traditional belt is challenging. I brought one to show how it works. So one end of the belt has a snap, and it snaps around the pants. So the parent in the morning for a younger child can put that around the belt loop. If you can imagine it just kind of sitting there. And then the other end goes through the loops like a regular belt. And throughout the day, it just opens and closes with the Velcro. And the one end stays attached to the pants, so it's grounded. So throughout the day, you just open and close it. And we have a slide-on buckle that is pretend. It just kind of moves wherever the center of the child is. So it becomes a one-handed belt. Yes.
Really, honestly, I love that. Like, we always talk about the importance of universal design, and I just always try to say, like, and I always mean it. Like, I wish I had one, because sometimes even for me, like, belts are kind of hard as a person with any kind of disability, or even sometimes for able-bodied people.
Sure.
It could be hard. So I think that's awesome. And Lisa just said in the comments, our founder said, we love products that empower, and that's absolutely what this product does.
That is exactly true. It promotes independence, it empowers, it makes kids feel pride and success. And we also make them for teens and adults. When we started, like I said, it was for my son. So I figured if I was having this problem, lots of people were. And then we started making them in sizes 2 to 6. And then we quickly realized that they were beneficial for so many other reasons. That yes, my toddler was potty training, but what about when your kindergartner goes to school? You don't think about the fact that teachers tend to be helping kids in and out of the bathroom all day instead of teaching. And so when kids can be independent and, as you said, empowered, teachers can teach, and kids can just go, to the bathroom on their own. So we extended our sizing to age 12. And then we realized that, wait, there's teenagers who struggle with fine motor skills or have a disability or a limb difference or a cognitive challenge that makes using a belt frustrating. And so we just kind of kept going, and the sizing now extends through adulthood.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I just have nothing really to say, honestly, except it's amazing. And how did you, where was the kind of turning point? Like, how did you decide, like, this is what I'm going to do? Because sometimes people see a problem and they don't have maybe the resources, or they don't have the time to say, I'm going to take this on and I'm going to do this. Or I'm going to see this problem and I'm just going to let someone else go and do it. But you and your sister decided to do it. So what was that kind of turning point?
I think when something is bothersome enough, you kind of take matters into your own hands. And it sounds like something little, but it was very frustrating. And I think it was also the combination of my sister and I wasn't alone in my frustration. She was like, had this another voice of, we should do something about this. And then it really was, I just wanted to solve this problem for me. And then I say sometimes when I talk about this, that it's like baby steps, like, well, how would that work? How would we want to make it work? And then we started cutting up belts and figuring out how it should close. And then we're like, because we should make one. And then my sister went to like a factory in New York City and got a sample made. And then my son wore it and we're like, it works. And then he likes it. And then we're like, okay, how can we make more of these? And it just like one step became another step. And before you knew it, we had a business, which sounds kind of strange, but that it doesn't just happen. Obviously it doesn't just happen, but it wasn't this conscious decision. Like, I'm going to start a belt business that I'm going to run for the next, 15 years. It was just like, I want to keep my son's pants up. How do I do this? And then, well, everyone needs this. There shouldn't be any kids walking around wearing a belt that's not a myself belt. There's just no reason. And I heard you in your interview last week talk about stairs and ramps and how, like, why do we even have stairs anymore? And it's such a good point. And it made me think about, not related, but sort of, about our belt. Like, our belt is easier. Why have a regular belt? There's just, it would work. It works for everybody.
It does. And it doesn't only have to be marketed or put out into the world just for people with disabilities. You created it for your able-bodied son. That is the key example of, like, if we just choose to be accessible, we choose to make something that will work for everyone, that's sort of where you start.
Right.
Yeah, so
yes.
The best products solve real world problems. Yes,
true.
Amen to that.
Very true. Yes.
Talia, can you tell us the key differences between your belts and traditional belts?
Yes. So as I said, ours is one-handed. So throughout the day, you just need one hand to open and close the belt, and it keeps the pants up. Our buckle is pretend, so there's no like holes or things to stick in the belt. They're sized like a waist, so I guess regular belts are that way too, but they might have a little more adjustability. Ours have about, over the years, we've extended this Velcro strip to make it a little more adjustable. So if it like overlaps a little more, it will still, I'm going this way, it will still like hold. So it's got a little bit of adjustability, but it's made to truly keep the pants up. So we didn't want to make it too adjustable that the child could close it and then would still sag. You don't want that. We also have like all kinds of fun patterns that little kids want to wear. So fire trucks and sports balls and outer space. And we also have, as I showed, like the traditional belts for school uniforms, like different colors of leather, solids, ribbons, stripes. So they come in a wide variety that hopefully appeals to everybody. Yeah. And then we also have, this is the adult one, which I should have put on, but it's a little wider than the child one by like maybe 1/4 inch, and the buckle is a little bigger. But and these are, the adult ones are genuine leather. The kid ones are not, just for a price difference. And so we make them in adults, and they're sized similarly, but again, there's adjustability like 2 inches. Yeah. So the child ones are sized 2T, 3T, 4T, 5T, and the adult ones are like waist sizes. So a 28-30, a 30-32, 32-34.
Yeah, I love that. And how do you know if you have truly and fully predicted the necessary accommodation in your products?
You know, we just hear from our customers. So as I said before, like there wasn't our intention necessarily to be a product for the disability community, but even from the first minutes before we even launched, we knew our belts have our closures patented. And in the patent application, you have to like write all the uses, how it would be used, how it would be applied. And we knew then it would be helpful for the disability community. We wrote it in our patent, our first provisional patent right when we thought of the idea. So we knew that it could be beneficial. We weren't sure exactly how, so or for anyone specifically. So I think we've just heard from our customers over the years, like just super grateful, excited parents that their kids can look just like everybody else. Yeah. If a school requires a belt, they too can wear a belt. If other kids, and you really can't tell, especially when the buckle's on there, that it closes in a different way. So I think, you know, kids like to blend in, and they can do that in our belt. We also hear from people about, you know, specific issues, whether it's fine motor or someone on the autism spectrum or with Down syndrome or adults who've had strokes. Interestingly, we have heard from customers the only thing that we've heard that the belts are challenging for, which I find just really interesting, is people with Alzheimer's, because their brain knows how a belt is supposed to close, even if they don't have that function. And so, you know, deep, I'm not a doctor, but deep in somewhere inside, they know that this is not the way a belt is supposed to work. And so they find it very frustrating, which I just find super interesting. So that's the only thing we've ever heard of that our belt is not, you know, great for.
But truly, it makes sense.
It does make sense. It makes a lot of sense.
Wow. I never even thought of that.
I know. I find it really, really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience on Shark Tank? So those who may not know, you actually, were you discovered on Shark Tank?
No, we had been in business for about 10 years before I went on Shark Tank. Yeah.
Okay.
So it was just kind of at an interesting stage of our business where I had grown it, you know, to a certain level, had tried to build brand awareness, but have, as I said before, have no background in business. And so I knew that it could be bigger, and with someone with a strategic partner who kind of knew more, like was more skilled in what they were doing, that perhaps there were avenues that we hadn't explored. And so I thought I would, you know, apply and throw my hat in the ring for that, never thinking that I would be selected. They have 40,000 applicants and they tape about 180 people and about 120 get on air. So the odds of that are like, you know, impossible. But for some crazy reason, I was picked, and I appeared on in 2014. And it was great. It exposed us to the world in a different way. I call it Myself Belts 2.0. It made something that wasn't as fresh again. We partnered with Damon John, who's awesome. And all in all, it was extremely stressful, but definitely I'm very glad that it happened.
And I know that, so you were telling us a little bit about, like, after that, you heard from a lot of therapists and OTs saying that, and we love OTs here at Pumpkin Fudge. So what was that experience like? Yeah,
I always know, so we re-air a lot on CNBC, and I always know when we have re-aired, you know, we get sales and stuff, but also we get the same questions to our customer service email address, which is, you should make these for adults, even though we always have, but I was wearing one on Shark Tank, but they didn't really, they edited out the part where I talked about that, and where I talked about the disability community was edited out. So we always get emails from OTs saying you should make these for adults, for people talking about the disability community, and that we should, you know, market ourselves to that community and introduce ourselves in that way. And I always am like, we are. It just was cut out of the airing of Shark Tank. So, so that's interesting. But yes, OTs love our belts. They help empower, promote independence, and just are a great thing for, you know, people of all ages.
I love that. And I know that you have a bunch of different designs. So how do you draw inspiration for new designs of the belts?
Yeah, we just, you know, so when I started, my son was a toddler and I knew what he liked and what little, you know, his little friends liked. So we kind of started with that, like whatever would appeal to him or to me as I was my customer, was kind of what has always led me. Now that I'm a little older and the inspiration for the belt is now in college, I can't really use that route. So I just, you know, look online for what's popular and what's trendy and what little kids that I know like to use. But, you know, time passes, but the same things stay in style for little kids. You know, trucks, sports, outer space. We have like a Spider-Man themed sort of belt with like, we call it the spider web. Unicorns and rainbows for girls, ballet shoes, XOXO, cute little hearts, cheetah print. We just have flamingos. We've just got lots of fun things that kids would, that kids would want to wear. We want kids to be excited and proud wearing their belt. And, you know, also a lot of little boys want to wear a belt and look just like their dad. So they're super proud to put on just a plain leather, traditional looking belt with our faux buckle and match their father. So, you know, the kids are excited about many different designs for different reasons.
I love that. That's amazing. I'm just so happy. I'm going to, seriously, I need to buy, because when you said flamingos, that's my sister's favorite animal ever.
Oh, really?
So
that's
maybe great. I think I need to go shopping on myself.
Okay, sounds good.
Seriously, I do. Is there, I know that we see a question in the comments, so we should bring it up. So Lisa asked this. I know you just said that you don't have any business background.
I can speak to it a little. So before my self belts, no, I had no experience with the retail industry. My sister, however, worked at Ann Taylor, not in the manufacturing side, more on the financial side, but we just did what entrepreneurs do, which is like tap into your people, like people you might know, people who your friends of friends of friends might know, to try to kind of get expertise from trusted people. And so that's how we initially, for our provisional patent, you need a technical drawing. We used a family friend who offered to do that for us. She worked at the time at Kate Spade, and there was a factory that she was familiar with overseas that she introduced us to. And so like just through word of mouth and trusted people is how we kind of gained that knowledge. But it was definitely a learning curve. I hired someone locally who worked in the industry to help me learn how to communicate overseas with our factory in China, because, that's a skill too, how to communicate and how to understand, like, I mean, in all seriousness, I didn't know the difference between, cotton, twill, how things are embroidered, like everything was learning. But I think if you're smart and open and resourceful and know what you don't know and seek that out, you just learn. It's amazing to see like how far I've come and how much I know now.
Speaking of which, is there a design or business challenge on which you are currently working?
Oh, let's see. We have some exciting stuff in the pipeline this summer that Lisa may be aware of. That is kind of all consuming right now. Some exciting endeavors that will come to light in the back to school season. So I'm working on that, some new ways for the belts to be available. And so, every project that we have is a new adventure, a new, as I said, learning curve. So that always keeps me on my toes.
I love that. And is there actually, I think I skipped a question. There was a question here about working with your sister. So
Yeah.
I know that you are co-owners with your sister of My Self Belts.
Yes.
Is there ever a time when that is like, what's
do you have a sister? So what do you think? I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
we joke.
I have 4 exactly.
Yes, so it's having a sister is a rocky road, the best, and you also can be brutally honest with your sister in a way you can't be honest with anybody, but you always come back to each other. So yes, I've said that My Self Belts wouldn't exist without us as a team, for sure, and we are very different, and so in that way, running a business complementary. So without each other and our different skill sets, we would not have ever created our belt, invented our belt, launched our product, brought it to market, all of those things. It took both of our brains. And then also that leads to like heated discussions and debates and disputes and all of those things. But the beauty of it is that when you're talking to your sister, you can say the things you wouldn't necessarily say to a business partner or a friend, and know that you can say those things and get through it. Whereas with a friend or maybe a non-relative business partner, I think that becomes a lot harder because I think it stings differently, or you don't have that practice of how to fight. And sisters have that practice. So because of that connection, I think is why My Self Belts exists at all. After about, I don't know how long it was, maybe like 6 years or so, we were, as I said, I've had this business for a long time. And so when it started, my sister Danielle didn't have kids. So, so then my kids were getting older, she's having kids. And so her involvement in the business has shifted over the past, 7 years or so. So still a super supportive cheerleader there for conversation and discussion, all of that, but not actively involved in the moment.
It's so good to have your sister in your corner.
Always.
Yeah,
Yes.
and she's the one that like pushed you and said you should totally do this in the beginning.
Without that, it would have just been one of those moments that passed, like you spoke about before. It was because of that, her saying that made me be like, oh, really? Okay, let's do this.
Yeah, I've had those moments too. Although it can be extremely challenging to have sisters, they can be very overbearing at times, especially
Uh-huh.
if they're very different from you. But
Yeah,
I've had those moments too where my sisters will tell me, like, no, you can do this. You should totally do this. And then I'll go for something that I didn't even realize I could actually do, but they
right.
did. So
Yeah.
I
Powerful
love,
cheerleaders for each other,
I love
definitely.
sisters.
Sister power.
um, Lisa just asked an important question. What do you think is the most important quality or personality trait for an entrepreneur?
I think probably resilience. Getting knocked down and getting up again.
Yeah,
It's a roller coaster ride, being an entrepreneur and starting a business. And there's certain amazing highs, and there's like really hard lows. And just for me, as long as you can, knowing that when you're in the low, that it's going to go back up again, and having that optimism, I think is critical. I think optimism and resilience and just belief in yourself. Like I always say that no one knows your business better than you. No one knows what you're doing better than you. And so trusting that, and not being intimidated by the world around you, and knowing that you have that special nugget that no one can dissuade you from doing if you have a great idea.
I distinctly remember Lisa saying something along those lines about
Really?
highs and
Yes,
lows,
it's
and
true. You can't
yeah,
sit in the lows. You got to help yourself get out of those lows.
yeah. I distinctly remember her saying that, and she's in the comments, so I'm pretty sure she probably remembers too.
It's true.
Um, I think that's awesome when I see those little things that entrepreneurs have in common. I love that.
Yeah, it's also a very supportive community. Like entrepreneurs want to help each other. And so
Yeah,
anyone I've reached out to for advice or guidance or a referral or a resource, as long as they're not like a competitor, I've found to be like they become friends. They become people that are in your corner as well. And so just knowing that the entrepreneurial community is like that is kind
yeah,
of comforting and helps everyone to kind of stand a little taller, I think.
it is. It's very, I mean, I'm not an entrepreneur, but I spend a lot of time with one. And Lisa is very resilient, even when like things around her can be on fire, but nobody dies.
Right, exactly.
So yeah, I mean, can you tell us a little bit about the cost of my self-built?
Yes. So they retail for $19.95. The buckle is separate. It's $2. So the buckle doesn't have to be on the belt if someone has a nickel allergy, or sometimes with our patterns or with toddlers, we recommend that you just get the belt because it's just cute.
Yeah.
So the buckle's optional. So they're $19.95 or $21.95. They're sold on our website, myselfbelts.com. They're sold on Amazon. They're sold on Zappos. But our
I didn't know
website
that.
kind of has, Zappos Adaptive sells our product. If you go to our website, myselfbelts.com, you can see like all of our styles are on there, and information about the belts and videos about how they work and things like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. And we'll put the website up at the end.
Okay.
When we talk about where we can find the belts, which you
Yes.
just so
Oh,
nice
sorry.
for us, but it's okay. No, it's
Yeah,
fine. Sometimes you have to repeat things so that
for
people
sure.
who
That
come
is
in and
true.
out can know.
Yeah.
So what are some benefits of my self-built? I know we've been talking about empowerment, we've been talking about
Yes.
independence. So
Pride, success. They give parents peace of mind also. They make
yeah,
a parent feel comfortable sending their kid out of their house to school, knowing that they're going to be okay. They're going to be independent. They're going to have success in their school day. They're going to be proud. They're going to stand a little taller. So I think parents having peace of mind when your kids are doing well and feeling good and strong, so are parents. I think for adults, for our product, just like kids want to be independent, so do people as they age. And so, it's that whole circle of, we all want and need the same thing. So if someone has with age has limited hand dexterity, knowing that they too can wear their belt with pride and have something on there and dress in a way that they always have, I think is something that helps everyone's self-esteem.
Speaking of pride and helping people with self-esteem, have you had any memorable experiences with customers who have bought myself belts that you
I
can
mean,
remember?
that is my favorite part of what I do. For years, people have told me that I shouldn't be involved in the customer service piece, like let other people do that. But like that is the happiest part of my day, is all these awesome emails that we get from parents about how our belts have benefited them. You know, from what I said, like we have all these testimonials of people who say they can send their kids to school and not worry about it, that they're so proud. We've had people send us videos of kids who perhaps have limb difference, and show them weaving the belt through their pants and doing the opening and closing it with ease, and just how happy it makes people. You know, it really is the little things in life that you know make it exciting. And you wouldn't think that a belt would do that, but it really, when people take the time to write us to talk about how our belt has helped them, I mean, it's just the best.
I mean, really, honestly, like
Yeah.
that's how we feel about our products as well. Like the best thing that someone can do is tell us like how it works or doesn't work for them, even not working for them. Like tell us why. How can we improve the product? But we love getting feedback from people, whether it's on social or them leaving a review or sending us a private email, or that's the best part for me too.
It is. I can't let it go. I need it. It's like food. I love it. Yeah.
It's awesome for me too. And I just was gonna ask this: how does your son feel about the success of My Self Belt?
He used to be embarrassed by it, but I think now he's proud of his mom. Now I think he's proud of his mom. Well, I mean, when he was little, it was just, you know, it was just there. And then as he became a teenager, when I tell the story of when his pants were falling down, I don't think he appreciated that very much. But now as an adult, he is super proud of his mom, and I think thinks it's pretty awesome. Yeah, he's not. He's pre-med. He's not joining the business, but he's a supporter.
Pre-med, that's pretty major. Seriously,
it's a long road. It's a long road. Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about the sizing of the belt?
So they're sized like a pant. So a 2T, the kids' belts are in one size. So 2T, 3T, 4T, 5T, and a 6. And then it goes to double sizes. So then 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then it switches to teen sizes. So those are by waist. So you would just measure the pants where they sit on the body, not your true waist, but where it sits on your body, where your pants rest. And then that would be the waist measurement. So if you measure a 30, you'd be like a 30, 32.
Okay, that's pretty straightforward.
And it goes all the way up to a 46, 48.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
And good to know. What is your favorite design to date?
It changes. Right now, I mean, the unicorn's cute. We have this rainbow that feels very like 70s vibe with rainbows and clouds, and it's on a navy blue. I love that one. I love the outer space that you mentioned. Our spider web is super cute. We have some stripes that I like. It's hard to pick. They're like all my babies.
I love that. And I'm sure that there will be ones that you probably will learn to love more in the coming of your more designs.
I'm curious. Who knows what's next?
Yeah. Speaking of which, do you plan to expand outside of belts?
We don't. I mean, like I said in the beginning, I was trained as a social worker. I still have kept up my social work license.
Which I think is amazing, by the way. Yeah, I want to be a social worker.
I love being a social worker. And I got into this business to solve a problem and we had this great patented, awesome idea. And over the years, people have said like, you should sell other things, wallets, backpacks, you know, clothes, whatever. And it just never felt right. I had this product until I had some epiphany about some other awesome thing. Then that wasn't kind of my motivation. And now it's just trying to expand awareness and build the community. So actually our fastest growing segment of our business is the adult belts. And so I think that's because of the disability community. And so just continuing to expand awareness and spread the word and try to get, as many people wearing an easy to fasten belt is possible.
I love that. And how can people learn more about the belts? I know that you are on social.
Sure. You can learn about Myself Belts on our website, myselfbelts.com, and read and see videos and different things. We're on Instagram. We have cute pictures of kids wearing our belts on Instagram. And on Facebook, we tend to post kind of parenting, humor, articles, cute pictures, motivational quotes and graphics and stuff. So it's kind of a fun place to follow as well.
I love that. And yeah, I think that we might end a little bit early today, unless there was anything that you would like to say, Talia, to the audience or anyone who might watch.
No, thank you for having me. It's been so fun and nice talking with you.
Of course, it was nice talking with you as well. Thank you so much for doing this with us, for being here and telling people about this amazing product that you've created strictly from a problem that your son had, and you made an answer for literally all parents and children and even adults now out there who may struggle with belts. So if you are interested in purchasing a Myself belt, again, it's available on their website, myselfbelts.com. And yeah, maybe, we could look for ways in which we could collaborate in the future in some sort of way. So hopefully we will see you again soon. Thank you, Talia.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you everyone for watching.
Have a great day.
Bye.